In this video, I'm going to show you the tools that you need to become a successful content creator on YouTube and be able to do it really not just for any niche, but today we're going to look at Lords Mobile and how to create content for it, whether you're using your phone or if you're using your PC. First things first, you want to make sure you get vidIQ. Now, if you don't know what vidIQ is, this is basically going to be the tool that helps you write your titles, your descriptions, the SEO, and the metadata of your video. Before you ever even start making a video, you really want to use vidIQ to be able to plan out what type of topics and things that people are searching for, but also be able to kind of find a way to basically get that content in a way that other people will be able to see, but also be able to find. And again, we're not trying to make it for robots, right? We're trying to make content for people, but there's also a strategy that we can go into this with, and vidIQ is one of the very many good tools out there that will allow us to get that done. The first thing you want to do is you want to go and grab the extension for vidIQ. Now, if you don't know where the vidIQ extension is, again, you get right to it from my link down in the description below at vidiq.com/DakotaFisherman, and then you can actually get to it from the extension up here at the top. And again, it is a Chrome extension, so you need to be using the Chrome web browser in order to have it. Now, a tool that is very useful to use is Stream Elements. Now, if you've never heard of Stream Elements, it's basically what allows people to be able to make pop-ups and add-ins for whenever users follow or subscribe or super chat or any number of different things between Twitch, or if you're going to be using YouTube or any other form of streaming that you plan on doing. And this video is basically trying to teach you. But Stream Elements is one of many tools. And now, of course, you can use other tools out there, but we're focusing primarily on Stream Elements in part because that is the one I currently use. You want to get the OBS Studio software. This is one of the best tools that you can have in your disposal. Now, primarily what you can do with OBS is this is going to allow you to not only be able to stream your videos that you are going to make, but you can also record them, and you can even, with a tool, with the Altium Vertical plugin, which you can get here as well at streamersquare.com/Altium Vertical plugin for OBS. You can then also make content and videos within OBS and make it for formats like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and a Breeze. The next step is you want to have BlueStacks or your phone, whether or not, regardless of what you're doing. Primarily, this is really more specific for Lords Mobile in particular, but the idea here is that the emulator portion of this is going to help us. If we're going to be playing, say, Lords Mobile, you can play this through an emulator. BlueStacks just happens to be an emulator that you can use on a Windows computer. A worthy mention is VoiceMod. VoiceMod is basically a voice modulator, and you can actually adjust and change your voice on the fly. So if you want to try out a different tool that is really kind of fun to use, you can get VoiceMod, and you can actually do this for your voiceovers or your mid-streams. If you want to flip-flop back and forth, you can even set keybinds just by setting a keybind. So like, for example, if I wanted to sound like magical chords, I can just pop it away and, go to down like this. As you can tell, this is what magic chords sounds like. But again, just, going back and forth, this is one of the many tools that you can use. And they've even got a lot more features if you go down their paid route. You can even get into the Voice Lab, and you can really do a lot of cool stuff with this. Naturally, you can go to Fiverr, and this is, one of many different places. There's a couple of different gig-based freelance websites out there, but Fiverr is one that comes to mind right away. That, honest to God, you can go to Fiverr, you can get graphics for streams, you can get anything you're after that you don't know how to do well enough. And you can get it relatively inexpensively, anywhere between like $5 to $20, and more of the high-end stuff is about upwards of $100 to $500. And it just really depends on what it is you're trying to get. But ultimately, you're going to find it if you're looking for graphics or anything that you don't know how to do. Now, when you're setting up OBS, it is going to look a lot like over here on the left. It's going to be a blank black screen, and all you need to do is basically hit on this plus icon here. You want to add your video capture device if you have a camera, because this is how you can get your camera involved. You can also go into window capture here, and then this is where you can add like individual windows, which for most people, this is how we will add BlueStacks. So we'll go into here, and as you can tell, I've already got some existing tabs, so I'll just go ahead and pick one and I'll show you what it's like. But basically from there, you pick out the window of your game, and then you would set it up from here. So we'll go ahead and run BlueStacks here, and I'll show you exactly what that ends up looking like. All right, so as you can see here, basically you can hold using the shift key and clicking and dragging on the corner, you can then move it in place. Otherwise, alternatively, you can right click and you can go to transform and do fit to screen. Now, you can really do this any number of ways. You can finesse it however you please. But primarily, this is where we're going to get our initial scene set up so that whenever we're doing recordings and such, this is where a vast majority of that work is going to be done. And then, of course, you can hit the lock screen to lock it in place so that you no longer have to worry about moving it around. And then you can continuously add more and more stuff on top of this. Like, for example, if you want to use stream elements, you can use stream elements by adding a browser source and hitting OK here. So, like, for example, I have another browser source I can show you. This is just an example, but as you can see, you can even play individual clips and scenes straight out of stream elements. Now, it's a really handy tool if you don't already have it, but if naturally, that's one of many different ways to go about it. So if you have alerts and different things during a stream, that's how you go about doing it. Now, one thing that you can also do here is that if, let's say we want to record this, you can go into File, go to Settings, and then from Settings, you can go to Output. And output, you can decide how many audio tracks, what type of encoder and audio encoding settings, and what kind of CBR and bitrate settings and controls that you want. Preferably, you want to have a higher bitrate, but it's also entirely dependent on how much internet you have, and this is one of those things that you may have to do a little bit of Google searching. So this video won't be really at all encompassing answer to everything, but one of the things that I highly recommend doing is going into the recording tab here and dictating where exactly you want your recordings to be stored at on your computer, and then also knowing whether or not you want them in any particular format. I prefer MKV, which gives you a little bit of fail processing, so that if, let's say, for whatever reason your recording ends midway, an MKV won't literally get it all corrupted like you would if you were going to use an MP4. So of course, naturally, if you're using an NVIDIA GPU, which, again, going back into hardware, if you don't know what an NVIDIA versus AMD card is, this is one of those things that you may have to go and look and see what you have specs-wise in your computer to figure that out. But naturally, I use the NVIDIA NVEC H.264 video encoder for any of my video encoding. And then typically, I don't really bother with a whole lot of these settings, but you can always Google it and look into this more if you want to get into OBS a little bit more finessed. But naturally, once you've already gotten that set up, you can also go into your service here. You can set up YouTube, and you can even also add Kick or Twitch or whichever platform you are currently using and add and apply your account. The process for this is really relatively simple, and it'll follow you through the steps as you go ahead and add your account. But once you've gotten to this point and you've got OBS set up, now we can go from here. Now, if you're normally recording a video and such, you can then pretty much do it in this fashion. So I'm going to go ahead and really quickly show you what the difference is. Okay, so like for example, let's say you want to record a video. Now again, I'm doing this strictly all within OBS. It's really relatively simple. All you do is basically set up your scene, pick your display like I'd shown you, but then you can also, just like this, you can have one that's a display capture, which is just showing your screen, and you can show what you're doing, but you can also simultaneously have another scene set up that use, just your, basically with a window capture, you basically just capture this screen. And then you can even crop out the bits and pieces that you don't want to see. Like in my case, I don't want to show you all of the the bars on the side, so you can do it that way as well. Now, naturally, of course, let's say you've got video on your phone, you can just as easily go on and record video on your phone if you want to, and then with, in my case, a USB-C to, basically USB-A cable, you can plug this into your phone, transfer the video off of your phone. So let's suppose, like, if we're going to go ahead and record a video, maybe I've got a rally or something like that going on, I'll go on and basically I'll sit here and watch whatever kind of gameplay. It could be any game, doesn't matter. Basically, all I'm getting at here is that while you're recording, you don't really have to do a whole lot of thinking here. Really, if anything, I would say, if you're playing Lawrence Mobile, a lot of people love scenes of rallies, traps, talks, conversations. This is all in the the process of storytelling, and fundamentally, if you're producing content, it typically helps to know in advance what it is that you plan on creating. And so when you're setting up your videos, you can set up B-roll this way. You can also just go ahead, collect footage, stream, whatever you may be, and you've got all this footage racked up. Now, what you do is now that you've got all this footage racked up, you're ready to actually go ahead and edit all of this footage and make it into something condensable or something that you can use. This is where we get into this a little bit further. So naturally, what I'm going to tell you more is going to be in the next video. So if you want to learn more about the video editing side, a couple of different tools that I use, and more stuff that will help you out and building a channel for Lloyd's Mobile, but really any other channel that you plan on producing, this is a highly, highly recommended video that I recommend you watch next.